Gary, first and foremost, welcome back. How does it feel?
It's a wee bit surreal, to be honest. Driving up the road and coming to the stadium just felt like any other day before, but also knowing that it's a different role, it's a different direction, and probably a wee bit more responsibility, and one I'm certainly excited and looking forward to.
Was it quite a quick process? When did you know things were happening?
When I got the phone call to speak to the chairman, first and foremost, and then it was, would I be like to interview with the rest of the board? And I said, yeah, I would be delighted. And it kind of snowballed from there, Lewis, to be honest. And I think when you come away from an interview and you come away from speaking to people, you get a feeling that if it's went well or you're comfortable with how you've presented, and I felt really happy with myself at the content I gave across, how I'd like to see things done in my eyes. So I kind of went to bed comfortable that night, knowing that I'd give it my best shot, and if it was to be, it would be, and if not, then I know I was comfortable with what I presented.
Fans of Falkirk are they're familiar with Gary Holt as the manager here, but obviously Gary Holt the manager in the kind of wider world of Scottish football now. But this is a kind of new direction for you. So, as a starting point, what appeals about this new role for you in your career?
It's a role I want to explore, maybe ahead of time, but I'm comfortable with it. I know the ideas I want to put in place. I know where the things I want to implement at a club, and I'm getting the opportunity, and that's something that appeals to me. It's, as I said from the first interview, I felt the board were very receptive to my ideas and how I come across, and sometimes in life you don't always get to map out what and when and why things happen. So I feel it's a good marriage, and one that hopefully will be a successful one.
As I say, we do know you from your time here before, Gary. We know amongst all things you're a very passionate guy, especially during a game, but to what extent do you think you'll miss that kind of being in the dugout for 90 minutes?
It'll obviously take time, I think, to adjust from that, but I'm comfortable with it. It was the same when I was playing. People still say to me to this day, oh, you must miss playing. I don't miss it at all. Don't get me wrong, Lewis, if you said, do you want a game of football? Yeah, I'll put my boots on, I'll go and play, but do I miss playing football? No, I had my time. I enjoyed it. I had a great, successful career. I had a really good, successful managerial career, and now I want to have a really good, successful sport and directing career. And that's how you approach it. As long as you've got no regrets and no, oh, I wish I'd still done this, or I wish I don't. I had a very successful time at both levels. Now I need to go and do this. Now I need to go and get my teeth into this and show people the direction I want to take Falkirk Football Club.
There was no temptation there to hang about for, something to happen in the kind of top flight, because you've left Livingston, you had a successful time there, and there will be some people that look at it and say, well, why Falkirk in League One? Because surely a manager's job may have popped up in the Premiership at some point.
Yeah, but as I said, you don't always get to pick and choose. You don't always get to say in 5 years I want to be here. Yes, it would be great, and we'd like to maybe map things out, but life throws curveballs at you, and sometimes you've got to run with it. And if it's something that it gets you excited, something that gets the juices going, shall we say, that your brain starts popping and fizzing with ideas, that was certainly how I felt, and it's excited me. I think you'll see that's coming out from me just now. It's a chance to put things in place. I don't see it as a League One club. We are in footballing terms, but I need to change that focus. I need to change that mentality. I need to change that how we word things, how we go about things, because I want to be at the highest level, and that's what we want to put in place.
Amongst Scottish football fans, there's an appreciation of a manager's job and sometimes a head coach, but maybe not quite as much the director of football role. So what's your kind of take on that role day to day, and what do you think you can bring to that role?
I think it changes, because I think if you go about and look at other clubs who have sporting directors, and I don't want to be a sheep. I don't want to have a look and say, oh, they're doing that down south at a certain club and we should implement. I want to bring new ideas, fresh ideas. I want to put things in place that people are saying, why are Falkirk doing what they're doing? So I think you've got to put your own stamp on it. And help, first and foremost, is to help the two managers in place, to give them as much help as possible to get them to the levels that they want to achieve, and put ideas in place and get them thinking outside the box as well to get there. And then it's a long-term plan of what we want to put in place and how we're going to do it, how we're going to facilitate it, how it's going to be funded. Because we've got scope to do a lot of things, but it's probably learning to walk before we run. As simple as that. I don't want to sit here and go, we're going to do A, B, C, D, E and F before the end of the week, when F's meant to be about 3 years down the line. So it's putting things in place in the short term, it's having a plan and sticking to that plan. Yes, things will maybe chop and change in the pecking order, we get that, it's being flexible, but first and foremost is to help the playing staff, the coaching, the management, recruitment, to see what's needed, how quickly we can do it and how quickly we can change to get us back up where we want to be.
You mentioned the kind of plan there and potentially things changing in different stages and stuff, but so in my job at the moment I get the usual objectives and milestones and all that good stuff. Have the board set you any kind of concrete, let's just call them objectives or milestones?
Yeah, we've got a plan that we think is successful and achievable, and that's what it is. It's not on something that's pie in the sky that you might never get to. It's having a plan that's actionable that we can get the rewards from. So I've bought into what they're trying to do and what they've agreed to set, and I think it's achievable. That's why I've came on board. That's why I've bought into and got me excited that I can see that vision, I can see that plan. So we'll have to, like I said, we have to put things in place, we have to put the foundations in place and learning how to do it and go about it, rather than spend hundreds of millions of pounds that we don't have, that you don't wish that you did have. So let's put actions and let's be accountable for them actions. And that's me, myself, that's the management team and everyone associated with the club, from the staff who come to work and they can do obviously during the pandemic. And that's people in the offices, it's people in the ground staff. They've all got accountability, right? And it's no different to the playing side either.
Football fans can often be cynical about anything and everything, we all know that. Some people will say that perhaps whether it's a sporting director, director of football, any of these types of titles is almost a bit of a luxury at a League One club. To those fans who feel that way, what would you say to them? What kind of benefits do you feel you can bring in that role? But
that's one of the things straight away. You said a League One club. I don't want to be associated with that. Yes, we are. I know where we're at, but we have to think outside the box. We have to push people's boundaries, change people's perceptions. It's a thing and a position I think a lot of clubs will invest in the future. I think there's got to be a marriage between the footballing department and the board of directors, and I'm going to be that. I'm going to be that link to both, and I've said this already to the football department. I'm not always going to agree with them. As long as they're aware of that, I will not always take someone's side. As long as it's for the benefit of this club, and that's my sole focus, is this club. It's not me. It's not the board. It's not maybe the board more than the playing staff and the players and the staff, but the sole focus is this club. And as soon as everyone buys into that and agrees to that, because if this club's successful, we're all successful. If people think it's about them individually, we ain't going to achieve anything, and that's something I'm trying to get across to people. It's this sole focus for everybody is Falkirk Football Club and how to make it better. That
kind of almost strength of character that you're talking about there, and the ability to stand up and say, I'm sorry, but while it might not be popular, the answer is no, is maybe a quality that actually helped get you the job. Because it was mentioned last week at the EGM that there was something like 20 names on the shortlist, and then 5 candidates, all of good calibre, were interviewed. Do you think what you've just said there, and what other things, do you think made you the unanimous choice of the board?
I'd like to think it's my charm, my good looks. Why are you laughing, Liz?
I've no idea.
No, probably my honesty and openness to it. And like you said there, Liz, as we've known in the past, you ask me a question and be prepared for the honest answer. But if you don't want the honest answer, don't ask that question. And that's the way I am across the board. And it might be a trait I need to bend a little and learn, but I think it stood me in good stead for where I am at the moment, and probably one I'll always adhere to. So if you want an honest, truthful answer to a question, but you might not want to hear it, you maybe want somebody to wrap you in a fluffy cloud and tell you you're the best, then don't come asking me.
And of course you do have, the important thing to mention as well is you have a background in the kind of youth side of things from your time down south as well, don't you?
Yeah, I've got, I like to call it a toolbox. I've got many tools in that toolbox, and this is another tool to add to it. So it's getting to use them, it's getting to open that box and get to implement things. And I put a lot of things in place in my role at Norwich with the EPPP that came in, changing the categories and implementing a lot of stuff, which was tough. It was really tough going. We had, I think it was a full-time staff of 8 running an academy, and we suddenly had to put 21 people in place, and it was full on. But it was for the benefit of the game. It was for the best v best practices and players playing best v best, and hopefully that will reap the benefits down south. And I think they're seeing that with players coming through, and the players even at Norwich we produced have been sold on for millions. So it's what enticed me here first and foremost as a manager when I came was the youthfulness of the group and bringing them through and getting them playing, married in with what I was doing then.
Yep.
Now I've got an opportunity to hopefully put things back in place in the long term, that people can be proud of being part of Falkirk Football Club.
There will always be people who say, well, no, Gary Holt, we still think of him as a manager because of his time at Falkirk before and Livingston, and is he almost like the next manager in waiting kind of thing? What would you say to people who feel that way?
No, thank you. And I've said that to David and Lee. I'm not here as a threat. I don't want their jobs. I'm not interested in the jobs. I'm interested in helping them be the best managers they can be for Falkirk. They've got my record to beat. Simple as that. And I want to push them to try and achieve that, first and foremost. And they've bought into that and they agree with that. So that's my tool now, is to help them, give them as much knowledge and information as I can. It's how they implement it. It's not Gary Holt says this and Gary Holt says that. This is what I've done and all the things I've garnered. Can you use them to be successful? And hopefully they can. Because something I said to them at Lewis is, a good coach, a good manager is a good thief.
Okay.
And that's what it is. Football and sessions and training sessions and tactical things it's not somebody's created. It's something you've seen and thought, I like that, I can use that. How do I adapt it? How do I make it better? We're not recreating the wheel. There's a goal at either end of a football pitch. It's how do you get it there? And that's what it is. So that's what I've told them is, open your minds, be prepared to learn, be prepared to push yourself outside the box, to go and pick ideas from other places as well, to make it better, to put your stamp on it as such, and hopefully they'll both be receptive to it.
To what extent is it going to help knowing the guys? Because obviously Lee spent time up at Ammonvale, and of course David you'll know from Wickham days.
And also I signed him.
Signed him, yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I signed him, because I've seen what traits he had. It certainly helps, but they know where I'm at. They know who I am. They know how I operate. They know how I work, and they know the demands I put on people. Simple as that. So that's a good thing to have. So it's not oh, it's comfy pals coming in. It's people that challenge you, people that are not a threat to you in a way that I want to take their job, but they also know the demands that I expect them to reach. So it should be a good, successful partnership. In
the early days, in what way do you think you can help the two guys? Because there will be people who are obviously wondering, well, are you going to be doing all the recruitment at youth level? Will the guys still continue to have a say in that? How's this going to work?
First and foremost, it's getting results in the park. It's helping them tactically and technically, and also recruitment and ideas and putting things in place. But it's just to help them get the wins on the board. That's first and foremost. We want promoted. We want to win the league. That is the short-term plan. And as soon as we can do that, the better. So it's helping the guys, giving them information of how I see games going, how I see to win games, how different bumps in the road, how a team that you think plays plan A doesn't play plan A, how do we adapt to plan B or C, and then it's putting the players on the pitch that can implement that, and being brave that if things aren't going right, how quickly do we change it? Do you have to wait to half time? Do I have to wait to 70 minutes? No, you can change it in 20 minutes. It's just giving them the opportunities to go and challenge themselves, to challenge the players to put things in place.
one of the biggest aspects of your time here as a manager, of course, was some of the younger players that you mentioned earlier that you could draw upon, and we're getting game time regularly. Of course, now we don't have the kind of academy anymore. How kind of passionate and how strongly do you feel about getting some degree of youth system back up and running again?
Massively. It's something I want to try and implement as quickly as possible as a development squad. I've got ideas, I've got things going around in my large head. I've spoke to people already that are keen to come on board and run it and go with it, and I'm going to sit down with them in the coming weeks to see their plan and how they see it running. But it's something I think we need to have a focus of it to help David and Lee. So there's a pipeline as well, and people in Falkirk and the players around this area know that there's an opportunity that people get let go for different reasons. People fall out of love with the game for different reasons, but there's also an opportunity that we're going to try and implement that we'll have trials, we'll have opportunities to go and catch the eye of Falkirk Football Club. So it's in its infancy, but I've already started the ball running with it, and I'm delighted if the guy who I can thinking of will take it on board. Will get the benefits of what he knows and how he goes about his job and how he wants to implement things as well.
And would these trials be almost open trial essentially?
It depends on the pandemic. Depends on how
Yeah.
we can do things. Obviously, we have to be secure enough that we know. But I've got an age frame that where I want to initially work from. I'm also open to, as I said, there's a lot of guys mid-20s, early 20s, 23s who are good enough to play football. They might have fell out of love. They might have got in with their own crowd. They might have got married at a young age and needed a job. So there will be opportunities that if you're willing to come and show us and be prepared to put in the graft, you've got an opportunity.
And how quickly do you see a development squad being put together? Is that something that could be, hypothetically here, could it be for next season, the year after? Because you're going to have to get a squad of, I'm guessing, ballpark 20 youth players?
Do you want my job?
I'll leave that to you.
No, it's going to curtail with the first team. It's going to hand in hand with the first team. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you all my ideas.
Okay.
Because I like to keep some of them to myself. I know how I want it to run first and foremost. Yes, I want it to run full time.
Right.
But that's down the road. That's one of the plans that we want. The age ranges, and it'll go back to, for me, I see it as an apprenticeship.
Okay.
Going down the route of an apprenticeship. So we're getting young guys in at a good age and giving them also good morals, a good standing in society, so that whenever they leave this club, first and foremost, they're better human beings. That it's not all doom and gloom that they never made it as a footballer. So they'll have the tools to accept society and know what they're doing and know how to respect people and respect themselves. So I want it to initially be down that road, but first and foremost we have to set things in place to get it up and running. And whether it's sooner, great. If it's a wee bit longer in the making, so be it. But we're putting things in place at the moment. Right now, as of last night, I sat and spoke to the guy. I've challenged him to come up with a plan, challenged him to come up with ideas, how he sees it running, because he'll run it first and foremost.
Okay.
He'll be in charge of the development team, with the help of us and myself. But at the end of the day, I firmly believe if you've got people in roles to do their jobs, let them do their jobs, first and foremost, and we'll see how it goes.
So in terms of structure then, is it fair to say that in the early days at least, it would be development squad, and then as years go by and finances become available, should the club hopefully go back up the leagues, then it would be expanded at that point?
Yeah, I think there's different age ranges that we should be aiming at,
Okay.
first and foremost, in how we run it. The development squad could be an apprenticeship squad. It doesn't matter, you might say a development, but I'm looking at the age of 16 to 21. So and it'll be supplemented with the first team for games programs and things like that. So there's all different things to add to it. So it's development squad in name only. It doesn't have an age bracket, it doesn't have an age range. It'll be there with fundamentally a younger age group, first and foremost, but it will be supplemented with senior players. It will be supplemented with the senior management team at times to go coaching and to show that there's an involvement of everyone, that we're invested in them. Because they have to see that it's an investment, it's a plan, it's an opportunity to have a career in football, so first and foremost. But they know they're coming to work, they know they're going to have to put the graft in, so it's not coming and being a footballer, it's coming to work to earn the money, first and foremost.
We know, Gary, you're not long back in the door, so to speak, but what have you seen of the team and the squad at the moment, and performances, and what do you think the immediate priorities are?
Well, I think we've touched on winning games. I love winning games of football. I like watching teams that win football. And that doesn't mean it's always the prettiest, open, expansive, pass, create the best goal. I understand that. I'm a realist. I know how football's played. So it's the boys have got a very good squad. They've got a good squad. Yes, we're looking to additions, but it's tough at the moment. We know that, but I think there's plenty in this building that can get us to where we want to be first and foremost. It's utilising that. It's implementing things. It's coming up with Plan C, and how do we quickly. And it's getting the boys focused and buying into how we're going to do it. Not the coaching, not the management. They're fine. It's the players we have to educate as well, and that's what it is.
It's a strange time to be starting any new job at the moment. Things are a little bit different. How are you going to be spending your days? Because I wasn't sure on a personal level. Would you be joining the club then immediately furloughed, or how are you going to be spending your days?
A lot of Zoom calls, a lot of phone calls, putting plans in place, getting a chance to meet when we're allowed, first and foremost, and that's the important thing. It's not breaking rules, so we're never going to do that. So it's just touching base with all the departments, speaking to the two managers regularly, daily, having numerous meetings with them, trying to put things in place and implement things, and also speaking to the board, and just hands-on. It's as you said, Lewis, it's difficult because I like to bounce ideas off people. I like to challenge and have, not arguments, but discussions. I like to interact with people, so that's difficult because when you're sitting in a Zoom call, you're hanging up and things might not get said that you want to say, whereas if you're in a room and you're bouncing and throwing ideas, it's for the benefit of everybody. It's not being hurt by somebody disagreeing with you, because it's being open-minded and flexible that your idea is not always the best idea. If somebody comes up with another idea and they can back that idea up and give you the knowledge that they've got, sometimes that's better than what you've got. So it's interesting times. It is interesting times, but I'm enjoying it. I'm getting more and more into these Zoom calls and how to lead them and stuff. But and it also does give people a wee bit of a platform that they can speak their mind. Because sometimes in a room, they can go over. They're not as expressive, and somebody's all sit and not say what they want to say. But in a Zoom call, there's no one in the room to laugh at them, and there's no one to say what you're saying. It's speak freely, speak openly, and give us your opinion. So it's been entertaining.
January is traditionally transfer window time, of course, and the fans are normally clamouring with, ask the manager who we sign in, what we doing, what positions. But of course, we're suspended at the moment. We're shut down for kind of 3 weeks or so. How challenging does that make things at the moment, and what impact could that have on any transfers in or out this month?
It'll have a massive impact, but that's not just us though. We're all in the same boat, so it's not us kicking up a storm and saying, "Oh, this isn't fair." It's like we're all in this situation. We all need to be a wee bit flexible. We all need to be a wee bit accommodating, and you're hoping that the powers to be will see that maybe the transfer window needs to be extended. Maybe there needs to be something in place that maybe we go back to the old style where it was March. It happened. It closed. That's when I moved. It was the last day in March. So because it's not about it's the end of January, it's shut and tough. And I think everyone realises where we're at as a country, where we're at as in football in terms, and we all want to be back playing. I think we can do that. I think we can put things in place that we can manage that across the board in all the leagues. So I think it's just be patient, and as we all have to be. We all have to have a wee bit of patience about us at this time and not get too frustrated if it doesn't go the way you want it to go.
And just finally, Gary, of course, the one thing that's missing at the moment is the fans. You know, I think they're the ones that are missing the games the most, and just being here in the stadium as we are now. If you were to have a kind of message for the fans as you start this new role, what would it be?
I can't wait to see them back at games, first and foremost. I'm certainly one of the advocates that it's hurt the game massively. Not just in revenue, I'm talking just the atmosphere and the buzz that you get, the banter that you have with the fans before the game, even during the game, after the game, everyone talking about the game. I miss that. I miss the interaction with them. But I hope they can see what we're trying to put in place. Hopefully they'll jump on board and they'll enjoy it as much as I'm going to enjoy it, and see the successful times that hopefully we'll come back to where we want to get to.
Well, Gary, good luck in the new role, and as always, thanks for your time.
Cheers, Liz. Thank you.